Hello, this is Tyler White. I'm going to teach you today how to make char cloth, so stick with me. Okay, char cloth. A lot of people will ask, why do you want to make char cloth? You have to have a fire to make it. My reply is this. If you're in a survival situation or in the backcountry, it may be hard to come up with your first friction fire to create a fire. Once you've got that, why wouldn't you prepare for the next subsequent fires and make it easier by creating char cloth? Well, that's basically the plan today. Now, to make this easy, I went out and got an Altoids can. You can use any can that'll seal it off. You can use clay. You can use whatever that you can do to cook cotton or plant-based material without oxygen, okay? And what we're gonna do today is just use a rolled up piece of pants. Now this is just a chunk of Levi's, so I know it's 100% cotton. If you have a mixture of synthetics and cotton, you really can't use it for char cloth. The reason being is the synthetics inside of it, which are essentially plastics, they're gonna melt and bind with that char cloth, and that won't give the char cloth the ability to catch your spark. So what I like to do is to get little strips, and you can grab the bottom of a shirt, chunks of pants, old washcloths, whatever you want, and then roll it up. The reason why I like that is because we'll cook this roll, then when I'm done, all I have to do is pull a bundle of the top off and drop a spark on that, and it will hold almost like a cigarette butt. It holds the spark really, really well. You can unwind it and pull pieces off, but I've found personally for me, that doesn't hold the spark as well. So with this piece here, I'm just gonna stick it inside this Altoids can. I personally will usually load up the Altoids can completely packed full all the way to the top because this stuff shrinks just a little bit when it gets cooked. For now, I'm just gonna do this one piece to show you. Some people will add what's called a weep hole. It's a little hole in the center. I've done that in the past. I've got one right here, but I don't see the necessity. I just don't see it as a need. So the reason being is when you cook this, there are gases that escape that are flammable, and they have a tendency to either come out of the hinge area right here, or to come out of just little cracks and stuff. If you have a really tightly sealing tin can, you probably need to make a weep hole. Otherwise, I just take the Altoids out of it, throw some cotton in it, drop it in the fire. Now, the question that I always get when I teach this is, how long do you cook it? My answer is this. There's gonna be a little candle of flame that comes out of one of these holes. When it puts itself out by itself, you're done. If you've got a ton of material in there, it's gonna take a lot more time to cook it. This shouldn't be less than a minute or so. If I get a big tall can, it can take 5-10 minutes. Just depends on how much material you have on the inside that need to cook off that extra gas. So I'm gonna put this right there on top, and now we're gonna let it cook. Now I'm gonna wait a minute as it starts to cook, and while it's cooking, I'm gonna go grab myself some sticks, because obviously I can't use my fingers to pull it off the fire. All right, I've got my super highly efficient hot metal grabbing sticks. Very complicated, highly technical. And now basically all I do is wait. Now if I can't tell if it's burning, I may move it to another location. I like to put it right down either inside of a hot spot in the coals or right on the top so I can tell if it's how it's cooking. So right now, it's basically just cooking in the flame. It can take a few minutes. It's kind of hard to tell But you're going to see flame flickering around it, and then you're going to see something that distinctly looks like it on fire. When that flame goes out, then you know what's going on. So right now I can tell this flame is definitely coming from those holes, and that lets me know that it's coming from the gas that is being cooked out of the pants on the inside right there. Once this flame along this top goes out, then I'll know it's time to take it off of the fire. But there's the flame coming from the chunk of char, a chunk of tree, and then there's the flame coming from the ammo can or the Altoids can itself. It's definitely coming out of the Altoids can. Right, there's a good shot of how that's burning. Okay, now I can pretty much tell that the flame has gone out of my Altoids can. So instead of cooking all the internal material down to a complete crisp, we got to pull it out. Okay, now that I have this out of the fire, now it's just a waiting game. I can feel heat from it, tap it, it's still pretty warm. I put it on the ground because the ground is cold and it's going to help get it cooled off quicker. Do not open these little cans while they're hot. If you open them while they're hot, you will introduce oxygen to it and you'll burn up all of your char cloth, which kind of defeats the whole purpose of creating it. Okay, this took, I don't know, a minute or two to cook, maybe 2 or 3 minutes to cool off. I will put my hand by it close without touching it to see if there's any heat. There's not. Tap it quick so that I don't burn my fingers. It's actually kind of cold now, so I can pop this guy open. There'll still be a little bit of latent heat in there, but that right there is my cooked char cloth. So let me show you how to create an ember with this. You've already seen in the other videos how to use a nest to turn an ember into a fire. So we'll just do this. Now, I was talking about earlier, once it's rolled up, you can just rip the top off. Just rip that top off right there. Grab my flint and steel. Now, there's 2 ways that I like to do a flint and steel. One is to put one piece of char on the top and the bottom. The other one is to just unroll it and to cut it. Right? So that way, if a spark goes to the top, I've got char to grab it. If the spark goes to the bottom, I've got char to grab it. No matter what, whatever direction it is, I've got char to grab my spark. Already got 2 of them right there. Now as they start to burn, you can see that's right there, that's an ember. And then this ember will be added to a nesting material, give it oxygen, go back to your fire lay and restart the process. But I probably got, I don't know, 10, 15 fires, easy fires if I snap the top of it off. I've got many more than that if I just pull off inch squares, and I'm a little more conservatory of my material. But there's no reason why I couldn't have tripled that much volume in this can had I just loaded it up with pants to begin with. That is how you make char cloth. It's used with flint and steel. Flint and steel burns at a much lower temperature than ferro rod and steel, which is kind of steel and steel. So that's why you need something like charred material in order to grab your sparks. Hopefully this was valuable to you. Go out and try it. Try it, get yourself an Altoids can, a can of any kind, I don't care. Put some cotton in it. Put some natural material in it, cook it on your fire, and then you can use it to start a fire with the flint and steel. Thank you for watching.